Jinx right there. We're going to bring out the stars of the movie and the director, Skylar. Come on out, everybody. Ooh, Blair Conklin, Tyler Stanlin, Sam Stinnett, Skylar Wilson, the director. Got Brandon Sears. Who else am I missing here? What else we got? What's that? Blair Conklin, yeah, I see Blair. Who could miss those Goldilocks? Come on. That flowing hair. So as they're getting situated, Skylar.
Hello.
Beautiful movie, by the way. Beautiful.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank
you, everybody, for coming out.
And I actually feel like I was underselling. Just even calling it a skim movie. I mean, there's so much more there. Like the surf component, the softy sessions, the airs on the softboards were blowing my mind.
Insane. Yeah, we've kind of jokingly been calling it mostly a skimboarding movie.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of other stuff happening too.
Can we talk about the editing a little bit and the process there? Because it was a frenetic pace.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. It's been really fun to edit, and I've been editing it over the course of a couple years. So like some sections, like Jack's section, I edited like 4 years ago, and then Blair's most recent one I edited like a couple months ago. So it's been cool, and it's been like an evolution. And I don't know, it's like a big puzzle, like building a house kind of. Well,
I think I speak for a lot of people. Best almost, well, kind of skim movie, right? Yeah? 80-20 film I've ever seen. It's so beautifully shot. Let's get into the parts that we love. What do you love about this movie, and why do you feel it represents the sport so well?
Yeah, everyone in this movie is like, just loves the sport of skimboarding so much. Tyler's been in the sport forever. He's gone on and been successful elsewhere, but kills it at surfing, kills it at skimboarding, and I don't think he'll ever forget it. Sears right here is probably one of the biggest legends of the sport. Still to this day.
Brandon goes back.
Yeah.
He doesn't go back like Tommy Traeger and Brad Dickey back, but yeah. Maybe. Yeah, there you go. Take a bow.
No, but just to continue, everyone in this movie has just killed it, and my favorite part was that last part of Blair. I think it just shows what can be done on a skimboard, and like the rail work that was done in that section is just mind blowing to me. Skimboarding my whole life, I just kind of have to take appreciation of that. So. That was my favorite part.
It's insane too to think that the progression is still moving. I think there was a lot of people that was skimming. It got as far as it could. But Brandon, you've been with the sport for as long as you have. Are you a little surprised that it keeps getting tweaked and the wraps get tighter, the shove-its get in the more kind of spicy, nasty locations that they're at?
Yeah, that's what I'd say is what I've seen mostly today is that the tricks that, well, when I first started weren't even happening, are now getting done in the more critical locations. I mean, the stuff that Blair and some of the top guys are doing nowadays, just under the lip, super critical. I just like to sit back and watch when it gets like that. But super mind-blowing to see, and awesome to see the progression. It's just going to keep going.
I've always wanted to ask you this, by the way. How the hell do you get your height wrapped and torqued the way you? It's not an easy thing to be so stylish, and when you have that height factor.
I just wait for big waves, and my big waves look small. So,
right?
Yeah, I don't know, but my knees feel it. So that's actually why I don't skimboard as much anymore, and so I have zero skimboarding waves in this movie, is because if I do, my body will break in half. But
that's a lot of people need to understand the simple aspect of skimboarding. You're dealing with the impact zone. I think there isn't a skim session that any of you go out, you leave with, whether it be a shinner or like a slight hammy, or it feels like you leave with some type of injury every time. Give or take.
Yeah,
maybe not Blair.
I would have to argue against that. I think skateboarding and any other action sport has just as much consequence as skimboarding, and all of us, we learn the sport from such a young age. You learn how to fall in the shore break, and that's a part of growing up in Laguna Beach in a sense. And what's so special about this community is Laguna is the mecca of skimboarding. It's where the sport started, and it was born. So, yeah, there's good reason for why we all skimboard and why we all grew up together, and why we're such a close, tight-knit community. But yeah, if you learn from a young age, you learn how to fall on the shore break, and there's less injuries when you learn young. So I'll take this second to kind of expose Skylar, and one of the main reasons she spent all this time editing this film. She's a skimboarder herself, really phenomenal skimboarder. Grew up in Delaware, she's from the East Coast, and she had a pretty freak accident happen in Nicaragua, where her board was basically taken by a wave and broke into her and ended up breaking her back. So she basically had a bunch of time to recover and put all that time into filming and creating this film. So it's a pretty exceptional film for our sport, and we give it up to her for that. So
Persistence pays off, right? For sure.
but
Yeah.
that's a freak accident. But it's
Definitely
not,
freak accident.
Yeah, it doesn't happen on the daily in skimboarding. So.
So what's been the initial reaction now that the film is starting to get eyes on it, Skylar, in terms of people's immediate response?
It's been great. It's
Yeah.
been really cool because a full-length rip clip skimboarding movie hasn't come out since the era of Instagram. I feel like social media has kind of taken the reins and everybody's just posting all their footage instantly. So it was definitely challenging to sit on a lot of this footage for years. But I think the payoff it's been very, very rewarding, and it's kind of been cool to have something to give the skimboarding community to rally around and bring them together and do stuff like this, which is crazy and hasn't been done in years and years.
Absolutely, I got to add on to that. Growing up, we were born and raised on 10th Street, the 10th Street Bros skim movies. No one else was really making movies besides them for couple of decades, and a couple other people started dabbling into it, and just like Skylar said, it was kind of long time due for a new skim movie, and she delivered. I think it was one of the best ones.
Great to see George in there too, getting some pretty throaty barrels as well. He's still bringing it. You bring up a great point. Those that live in Laguna Beach, it's one of those things. If you're growing up as a Grom, you have to skim. There's 2 high tides a day. It's and it's just the nature. And now it's so great to see whether you're at Crest on a day where the rebound is working, or you're down at 10th Street. But all the kids in their repertoire, softboard, skimboard, you have to do it all. Maybe you guys could speak to what it's like now to see, 5-6-year-old skimboarders.
Yeah, I'll take that question. But
Yeah.
I think right now there's a lot of progression in the sport, and a lot of really good young up-and-comers, more so than I've ever seen in my lifetime. There's a group of kids in the 11 to 15 year range that are exceptionally good at skimboarding, way better than I was at that age, and I'm really excited to see where they take it. I think that they just have such an incredible base to build on. If they're already charging shore break at Aliso and already doing technical tricks in critical parts of the wave, I think they're really going to take it to the next level. And I think our sport has a lot of room to grow as far as competitions and a tour. That's kind of something that all of us up here have competed on, and we've probably all become friends because we were competitive against one another at a certain point in time. But it's not something you can make a living off of. There's no there's nothing comparable to surfing in the sport right now. So hopefully one day there's more support for this younger generation, and that they'll be able to make a living off of it just by competing and have some sort of structure behind the sport.
And lastly, anyone we want to thank, that made this possible? I know that these things are Herculean tasks when you dive into a production of this size.
Definitely all these guys for just hucking themselves into the craziest ways. Very cool to watch, and I have all the respect in the world for them. And of course, my parents, always super supportive. I will never stop thanking for my dad for sticking a camera in my hands when I was a little kid and just telling me to never put it down. So I owe it all to him for sure.
Big round of applause, you guys. Beautiful, beautiful film. I know we just got to keep on a tight schedule. I'd love to sit all night and chat, but we do have 5 summer stories with live performance with Honk coming up. So thank you so much again.
Thank you.